everyone, welcome to Movement and Me, an initiative that is designed for budding artists across the world who wish to pursue their career in art. I'm your host Niharika, and on this show you will hear artists talk about their lives and the choices they had to make in pursuit of arts. We will also get to use some tips and key learnings from the lives of these artists, along with a detailed discussion on their areas of interest. So quickly hop onto a journey into the world of arts along with us. So that second bit that caught my attention is something that people have concerns about, but with the pandemic on, people have definitely grown closer to. But it's still something which is sort of a dilemma or in question. And this is a conversation on fitness. When we talk about dancers and dancing, people somehow assume that the act of dance itself is one way of working out. But people don't necessarily talk about the requirement to engage in workout and strength training and other fitness regimes to be able to dance as well. I think we just assume that dancing is a form of fitness, but we don't talk about the other way around. So I know you are an avid fitness freak. You like to engage and take care of your body. You have your own set schedules. You do yoga one day, you have strength training, and you do other fitness routines for yourself, and you also believe in maintaining healthy dietary habits. Something that's very essential if you are someone who's looking carefully at how their fitness regime is and what they wish to achieve and how they wish to take care of their bodies. So, as someone who's engaging with all of this, would you like to tell us a little bit about why, as a dancer, is it essential and necessary for you to have a fitness routine of your own? And whether dance in itself will ever be enough to help you be good at it or get to the point where you feel very confident and very comfortable in performing the way that you feel and experience.
Right, that's a very important point, Niharika. So I'll just start with it that dance is demanding, and it demands a lot from the body, and each dance style, whether it's classical, whether it's folk, whether it's contemporary jazz, every dance style has a grammar and a technique, right? There is a way, there is a structure to it, right? Where in which you use, and obviously when you are dancing, you are using the angic, the entire body. It's not just one hand or only one leg is being used. You're using the entire body. So, in my personal space, also, what I do is that, so dance needs 5 things, which I have sort of listed down. And this I had this time to do it during the lockdown, where I, sort of restructured my fitness thing. I was not very informed, aware, and careful before than now at this point of time. So when I sort of started when I now in the lockdown, when I started doing Bharatanatyam, I realized that there are certain weak adavus, right? So this is just, I'm just giving an example from the personal experience, that there are certain adavus which just do not come very easily to me, right? And why do they don't come very easily? Because they require certain type of muscle in my hip or in my thigh that sort of restricts me in doing that movement easily, right? So when I sort of sat down with it, and I realized, I also attended there was a very wonderful session which was done by Bharat Anatomy. So it's about Bharatnatyam plus body anatomy, and she I attended her session, and I learned that dance it requires agility, it requires mobility, it requires endurance, it requires strength, it requires stamina. And it requires flexibility. So 6 pointers which dance actually requires, and this is across all forms. ऐसा नहीं कि भरतनाट्यम में ही चाहिए. So, and during the lockdown, when I started writing these points, I started to realize, okay, this is not there, this is not there, this is not there. Flexible, yes, I am flexible. Core strength, not there. So I sort of rated myself on all these 6 parameters, which as a dancer one needs to have, because otherwise, once these 6 pointers are not carefully taken into your regime, the dance starts becoming a little, the dance starts taking a toll on you. So there are like two types of sweat. So after dance, happy sweats, and then after dance, you're like, I'm so tired and I don't feel good about it, right? But as opposed to, it feels so great after dancing for 2.2 hours, and I feel really refreshed and recharged. And in these matters, one needs to listen to the body also, right? When the body is tired, like good tired, bad tired, what is it like? So I sort of divide my fitness routine into 3 parts. So it starts with basic warm up, which is to just awake the body, and telling the body that, okay, now you have to work. So please be awake. The second section of my fitness routine is the main activity. So that in that main activity, I focus on a particular part of my body. So right, the day I do, for example, sometimes I will do my legs, okay, and then I will do my upper part of the body, or sometimes I'll work on my flexibility, or I will work on my strength and stamina, or I will work on my agility. So I choose exercises based on these 6 pointers and based on the parts of the body. So if I want to work on strength, I will focus more on the upper part of the body one day, and the other day I will focus on the lower part of the body, strengthening the lower part. Because when in dance, the strengthening part is the core is definitely has to be strong enough to hold the position, whichever position that is. And so I sort of do a permutation combination of these 6 pointers and my own parts of the body. And then I usually, when I feel that too much of strengthening is happening, or too much, I'm getting a little bored with the routine, I go in for yoga. So I have a personal trainer as well, who so he and I, we both work thrice a week. And he sort of focuses on certain areas which I don't focus on my other days. So in a week of 7 days, one day I take rest. The other 6 days, I'm planning my routine in such a way that it doesn't get boring for me. Because as a person, for me, a routine really gets boring, and also my body gets very easily used to the exercises which I do. At there will be a point of time when, after 3-4 days, my body will say, okay, there's no pain, I'm easy able to do it. Then we need to change that routine and push ourselves forward as to to achieve more. So that's how I work. The third section of my fitness is cooling down, because as much as warming up is important, cooling down is also very important. And this cooling down, I've realized in the past like 2 years. Not before that, I never used to cool down. And the not cooling down sort of took me to a point where I had a knee injury. It was a tendon injury, and it sort of, the injury was because my muscles got so exhausted that they couldn't take the weight of whatever dancing I was doing. Right, so the muscles got exhausted, they got tired, so they start telling the knee to sort of push, and then the knee started paining. So then I realized that it's very important to cool down as well. And in the cooling down, I usually have a set of asanas which I do, and I take time in cooling down. So my cooling down is good 15 to 20 minutes. So there is a warming up which sets my heartbeat racing up. Then there is a main activity. Then after the main activity, there is one filler which I do to get my heartbeat back. So maybe I'll walk around the house, or because when your heartbeat is racing after the main activity and immediately you lie down, it does not the body does not understand that abhi to ye dance kar rahi thi, ab suddenly ye rukne ko bol rahi hai. These contrast, so body ko thoda time lagta hai. So main activity ke baad, when you start roaming around the house, you get your breath back, then put a nice piece of music, and then I lie down and I do my asanas, and I take good 15 minutes. Plus also, it's only a year back or so that I've also invested in fitness equipments. uh, and I because they're very important, as I feel like if you're a dancer, and especially in these times when you can't go to the gym and you don't have access to equipments, having equipments at home. And when I say equipments, I don't mean treadmill, and I don't mean treadmill or cross trainer machines. I just mean one resistance band, which is and with that one resistance band you can do like some 250, 300 exercises. And aajkal, nowadays YouTube have so many tutorials on that, that they work good on flexibility, they work good on agility, they work good on strength, they work good on stamina, and that. So I invested in the fitness equipments, good yoga mat, a good resistance band, skipping rope. So I invested a lot in that. So it's only now that I have started being more aware about the body and why it is required to sort of work out every day, so that your body does not uh, feel sluggish during the day. And also, once it becomes a habit, you really feel, if it becomes a habit and one day you have not done it, you will feel so guilty. There is no point in going back to that. So also, my favorite quote which I really follow is, if I rest, I rust, which is basically a quote by Swami Chinmayananji. And I really follow this, because this is what happens if I rest for one day, and if I don't do and I'm feeling a little lazy, and but that laziness sort of comes ki chalo 2 दिन बाद कर लेंगे, 3 दिन बाद, so that thing sort of takes me into a space where I don't want to be. So I don't want to be guilty. So I make sure that I do, yeah. So I make sure that I do some form of exercise and some form of routine. And when it comes to, obviously, when it comes to dancing, you have to feel good when you're dancing, right? So diet is, again, which is very important. I usually don't have any restrictions on my diet, but I do add a lot of vegetables and fruits in my diet. There is no this thing. There's no. I don't put that I can't have a pizza, I can't have burger, I can't have fried food. I have everything, but it has to be based on a certain like limit, right? So consecutively I cannot have burger, pizza, fries, and all the fried stuff. So I have my days where I take an off and I chill. I have pizza, I have burger. ऐसा नहीं है कि dancers नहीं खाते, सारे dancers खाते हैं. So that's there. But then you need to balance it out, and balance it out smartly. So over the week, if you have good amount of healthy stuff, and add a lot of vegetables, fruits, and I really recommend adding dry fruits and seeds in the diet, because that really helps in the metabolism. Like, you feel really charged up and you feel really active throughout the day. You don't feel sluggish, because there are days when we start feeling a little lazy, and especially in winters now. So all these will really help in maintaining a good metabolism rate, and making you active throughout the day. So yeah, that's pretty much my fitness routine and diet routine.
Thank you so much. There's some very interesting points that you've made there, like talking about the six elements or things that are required for dancers to look at, and also a little bit of information on diet as well. Thank you so much for all of that. I'm gonna have to quickly move on. So we are kind of running short of time as well, but really want to address this one question, which is very important, which I think would be interesting for other people to know more about as well. So you started Kaladhwani very recently, and you have this idea and this passion that you want to continue dancing and music, teaching dancing and music at Kaladhwani, and you want it to be available and accessible to people just like you had access to dance and music at such a young age. So could you tell us a little bit about what Kaladhwani offers, what kind of courses are sorry, classes are there, and what is it that you wish to actually produce at the end of as a vision and an aim for Kaladhwani?
Right. So Kalathwani is really my baby, and I started Kalathwani with just so that I could continue my passion for teaching. I've started realizing that I love teaching as well, and so I started Kalathwani, and so in Kalathwani, so basically I am a Bharatanatyam dancer and a Hindustani musician. So right now I teach in Kalathwani these two forms, which is Bharatanatyam and Hindustani music. So Kalathwani's aim, why I started this also is because I wanted people to, in earlier, and this is what I felt in earlier times, when I wanted to learn a particular dance form, there were not many options, right? Because I belong to a non-arts family, my parents also were not aware कि कितने art forms होते हैं, how many types of classical dance forms are there. Okay, are there two types of music traditions in India? We didn't know. And also, I would have started learning Carnatic music, but then because I didn't know where to find the teacher and my parents didn't know whom to contact, and just didn't know where to go, so we started Hindustani music, right? Because when it comes to Bharatanatyam, obviously Carnatic music is the closest, right? So yeah, so I wanted to sort of bring Kaladhwani and make it like a, a one point where parents can engage with me, talk to me, and make themselves aware about what the arts has to offer. So right now, because I am the only one in Kaladhwani, and I'm teaching Bharatanatyam and Hindustani music, the vision of Kaladhwani is actually to promote all the classical as well as the folk dance forms later in the so the if I say the 5-year vision, it's actually to sort of have a group of students informed, aware, trained in any of these dance forms, whether it's folk, whether it's classical, whether it's music, whether it's percussion, whether it's Western music, whether it's Hindustani, Carnatic, whether it's in visual arts. So I want to sort of make it like a one place where parents can come anytime, walk in anytime, and ask the questions which they don't find people to have that conversation with, and make themselves more aware. And that's what Kaladhwani is all about. The also Kaladhwani is also focusing on sort of so as a Spikmike person, like I used to travel with my Guruji uh, as part of Spikmike to different schools. I saw that there are so many. You just give them like one glimpse in the rural villages, and the kind of questions they ask that will you come next time, will you come to teach us, and living in Delhi and in these metropolitan cities, it's very difficult to sort of leave the job here and suddenly go there. So Kalathwani also aims at bridging this gap, and sort of having a longer duration of courses for those students, right? So like having a faculty who goes for a residency there, be there with the students for say a 1 week or 10 days, and give them actually what the arts has to offer. So if it's even if they don't have any resources, right, how do you build say a dance team or a music orchestra through the resources which you already have? Why can't we make a music orchestra out of the scrap which we have in our villages, in our homes, right? So basically making arts accessible in that way, and um, teaching them various ways of engaging with rhythm, various ways of engaging with dance, in with the visual arts, with the theater, drama. So how agar mere paas koi ek ball hai, how do I teach a child about rhythm? So I just throw the ball and I say, this is how you catch the ball. How do you throw the ball? This is how you throw the ball. What's your body doing? How do you play? So things like that. So that's a vision which where I want to be. And basically the main thing is to make arts accessible across all masses. So that's what my dream is. And yeah, this is what I'm working towards right now. I'm only teaching Bharatanatyam and Hindustani music, and right now obviously it's online, but the physical classes will come soon, once all of this gets over. Yeah.
Thank you for that information. That vision is actually quite interesting and extremely necessary during this time. So, all the very best to you, and I'm hoping that you're going to be successful in your endeavor. Just the final question of this interview, which I ask every interviewee, and I think you're going to have some personal insights and interesting things to talk about as well. Is there anything that you would like to give us, our audience members out there who are looking to pursue dance in the future? Anything that you would like them to talk about, to think about? Any piece of advice, any new information, anything that you would like to share from your experience? Um,
So I think I get this question every time, and that whether starting dance, what is the right age actually to start dancing or to start learning dance, or what is the right age, and if the person is 14, 15 years old, is it early? Is it a good time to start? My I think my first statement is very clear that everything is possible in 24 hours, right? So you need to strategize, and you need to time in such a way that you have your hobbies as well in place. You have for example dancing in place, you have your studies in place, and you have other if you have any other hobbies. The one thing which I will say, and it's very important, that in art forms like dance and music, the gestation period is very long. So you work for 10, 20 years, and then maybe you will get some a little bit of something, and then you work again for 20 years, then maybe something you will get. So it's not a very quick thing कि हमने आज काम किया और हमें कल आउटकम मिल गया बहुत अच्छा. So patience is very necessary. That it's a very good, it's a quality which one must have if you are pursuing the arts, because be aware that the gestation period is very long. You need to put in a lot to get a lot. So that's there. Second, it's possible to do, even if you're working, and if you're working in a different sector and you want to learn dance, it's very much possible, right? It's all about the will. There are fantastic teachers who are ready to support people who are multitasking work and their home life and their hobbies. And you just need to find the right teacher to sort of guide you through. And so that is the second point. The third is that once you find the right teacher, and once you have the patience, don't give up. So there will be times, and there have been times in my life as well, where I realize that this is so much of work, and why did I choose this field? I have to do so much of exercise and then can't eat stuff, and you know there are many lows which will come, but the next day when you get up and you get back at it, you you just feel charged up. So just fill yourself with so much of your work and hobby and everything, that once you start doing it, it comes out, and it comes out like loud, and everyone is there to witness it. The fourth point, what I want to say also, is share what you are feeling. And my it's very good when you know that people know that you are doing this as a serious commitment. And once people know that you're doing it as a serious commitment, they will support you. So this really happened with me and my friends. So I never, my social life is not very good. So in my friends used to make any plans, I could not go because I had rehearsals. So then when I started giving them updates about my upcoming shows, started giving them what I'm doing, what I'm up to, they started feeling, okay, this is something which she's very serious about, and they started making plans on days when I don't have my rehearsal. So they started supporting in that way, and they started coming for my shows. So sharing is very important. That tell your friends that you're doing something, you're learning a dance form, you're learning music, you're trying something new, and let them witness your progress. And once everyone sees how serious you are and how committed you are, you yourself get motivated, and then you yourself want to show that, okay, yeah, this is something which I'm enjoying, and you start enjoying it. So yeah, so these 4 points. Otherwise, keep working at it, and I'm sure we all will sort of gain a lot from the arts. It's something which is precious, and it's there in our everyday lives. We just don't know it. We just need to be made aware. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Radhika. Those were quite interesting points. I would say there are 6 now because you added something at the end. So thank you so much for all the points, and thank you so much for everything that you've talked about at this interview. Some very useful insights, some very interesting conversations, and I'm really sure that the audience will also enjoy the little bit of singing and the little bit of dancing that they also experienced during this interview. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Niharika, for inviting me here and to talk about my journey and to share my thoughts on about dance and music and the allied arts. And it was such an engaging conversation. I also had a lot of thinking going on now, that I need to work on these things now that I've also spoken about it and
Right.
and reflected back. So yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you all for tuning into Movement and Me, an initiative that is designed for budding artists across the world. To continue receiving notifications on our latest episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel Natya Mandalam, or look us up on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for more information. I'm your host Niharika, and I'll see you all next time.